episode 26 of the 100 podcast. I brought in another La Quinta alum, Dylan Lee, and this is kind of the reason I did the podcast was for me to be able to talk to people I maybe haven't been in contact with in a couple years, and Dylan, for example, I haven't talked to you in probably 8 years, maybe since the end of high school, probably like 2012. But yeah, man, so all I know right now, basically, is that you live in Beverly Hills, and you were telling me you're an actor, or an aspiring actor, so catch me up. What's going
on? Well, after high school, I moved away. I was 17 when I graduated.
Really?
Yeah. And I went to San Marcos, actually.
Okay.
And things not work out well there. A lot of things happened, lots of trials and tribulations. So after that, I moved right back home to La Quinta. And I stayed in La Quinta for about, I want to say like 9 months, not very long.
Uh-huh.
And I just decided to go back to my roots, which was acting. When I was a kid, I was an actor. And I started acting when I was about 6. And I did a lot of on-stage musicals. I did one with Debbie Boone called The King and I.
Okay, it sounds familiar, the name, but I don't really...
The King and I is like a famous play, but
yeah.
She was actually... She sings I think now she sings, she does commercials for bathtubs with doors for old people.
Okay.
It's kind of sad.
Yeah, but I...
Never want my career to go that way. And so I just stopped after a while, and then I was just like, let's just get back to that. Let's just do something that I'm familiar with. Let's do something that I've always wanted to continue doing. So I moved to LA, and it's been a really rough ride ever since.
Okay.
At first I started, for 4 years, I went to an acting conservatory called the Acting Corps. And I was performing once a month in North Hollywood, every month through there. And it was...
Was it all kinds of different shows, or was it just...
It was a lot. It was a lot of variety, and it was a lot of scenes. It was very adult, though. It's not oh, I'm gonna be cute and act. It was a lot there's times I had to get naked on stage. There's times I had real stuff.
Real wild.
Yeah, and it taught me a lot of this is a lot different than how you acted as a kid.
Yeah, exactly. You're gonna have to push yourself way past your comfort zone.
Absolutely, and you're not gonna go anywhere if you don't.
Okay, yeah. Well, that sounds like it with the Harvey Weinstein situation.
Oh God.
Okay,
no,
sorry. Let's go back
not
up.
that bad.
Okay.
Not that bad. But there's just a lot of things that I was taught there. Every teacher there was still a working actor. Which I thought was super important, because it's like having a singing coach that doesn't know how to sing.
What are you teaching me? Yeah. Exactly. That's kind of, I feel in sports as well, when you have somebody that's gone a certain level, or somebody that's maybe a college athlete that just finished playing, and then they go straight to coaching. I feel like they're one of the most important coaches, because they know the game. They just played. They were just there.
Absolutely. And even though everything changes so much and rapidly, it still is important to have people who are still in it. One of my favorite teachers, who I'm still in contact with all the time, she has over 80 credits on IMDb, and her first movie was Nightmare on Elm Street.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's
pretty, yeah. And
classic.
One of my other favorite teachers, he's the reason for Chicago Fire. He was the first episode. He played Andy. He's the one that dies.
Okay.
And that's what Chicago Fire is all about, is their friend who died. Obviously it's changed over the years, but that kind of role sucks ass. Because you're
gone. You're done.
You don't get an arc.
Yeah,
you're talked about a lot, but you don't get a lot. You don't get an arc. And an arc
you're not getting paid, are you?
Yeah.
You're not getting paid for that when you're getting talked
you're
about.
Not Andy, really.
Yeah, exactly. That's what's up.
Yeah, that sucks, but it's worth it if you really put the time and the effort into it. A lot of people don't realize that it's all time and effort.
And how is it going so far for you? How is where are you at? I guess right now. How do you feel about the whole acting situation?
Right now, I'm not auditioning, and I can't do anything. no one can do anything.
Yeah, basically, yeah, I guess you're right. Corona, thank you.
Yeah, what sucks is it is pilot season, so I was gonna go back and audition more. My manager kind of wanted me to, and obviously I can't.
It just kind of...
Yeah, spring pilot season is like the best time, so everyone from all over the world comes to LA during like this time to shoot pilots for TV shows that are potential candidates to air during the fall time on networks.
Give them their first season, their first...
Yeah,
episodes.
if it gets picked up.
Yeah.
But shooting them is even just an honor.
Just like shooting them and being able to give somebody like this is kind of what the show could be.
Yeah, and you
basically.
still get paid for it.
You do?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what matters, right? It doesn't matter.
No,
Yeah.
you get credited and you get paid for it, but
Yeah, exactly. That's what matters.
it's not really
job.
about the money. It's just about doing. If you're in it for the money or for fame, you're never gonna go anywhere.
Yeah.
It's going to eat you the hell up.
Yeah, I'm sure. I've heard Joe Rogan talk about acting a lot, and he talked about his distaste for it, about how the acting, how the whole game is. You
Fake?
know? Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
A lot of it can be fake, but a lot of it can be real if you allow it to be. Some people think it's like a constant act they always have to put on. It's not.
So let's say you're working on a role, just because I've heard of a lot of big actors doing this situation. Like if you're working on a big role, would you go home and would you be that same person? Would you like kind of put yourself in that role on your daily life?
So you're talking about like method acting.
Yeah,
that's what that is. Or are you
doing straight plays, like play acting?
No,
oh, okay.
I mean a stage is like what I'm used to and what I'm more comfortable with, which helps a lot in TV acting. I did one TV show, but it helps a lot because on stage you don't get like take after take after take.
You have to do it the first time.
It's a one shot type of thing.
Yeah.
And I act through methods with which a lot of people don't. And living in LA, there's like 11 million people who think they're actors, but they don't know what the fuck they're doing.
In LA, I feel like even you have to go there, so you don't have a choice. Even if you're not an actor, I feel like that's like the spot you have to go to be an actor.
You can go to New York, but the money is in LA.
LA is like the main.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But a lot of people will get roles just based off their looks, which pisses me off.
Yeah.
And a lot of actors are one notes. So you'll see someone do like, I have some friends who did like one Netflix show, but they cannot get another job because of that.
Yeah, yeah, I get you. You. Even what's the guy's name? I don't know the guy's name. David Radcliffe or whatever from Harry Potter.
Oh, Daniel. Yeah.
Or Daniel Radcliffe.
He's a weirdo. I'm not gonna say how I know him, but he's a little bit. Of
But I remember he was talking about that, and he was saying for a while, and this is a long time ago. I don't even know how I remember this story.
Well, he'll always and forever be Harry Potter.
Exactly, and it's hard for him to even go into another role, another role.
One of my good friends, Yasmin, she did a Hangover 2.
Okay.
And if you're familiar with that movie, she does the scene where she goes, "You can't call it Bangkok for no reason."
Okay. So she's like, that's going to be what she's remembered for, what you...
Yeah,
like
she actually was kicked out of a Disney casting office because of it. Which
really?
I was like, I mean, if you're going to show your penis, you probably can't be on Disney. I'm just going to, we're going to say the no to that.
Yeah.
But when you're struggling and stuff, there's a lot of shit you'll say yes to.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot you'll say no to.
Yeah, I understand that. You need to get your money. So you're like, I'm gonna get somewhere. I'm gonna get a role somehow.
Somewhere, somehow, some way.
Yeah.
It's a struggle. It's a struggle for everyone. It's hard as long as you know what you're doing. But going back to like method acting, no, I do not method act. A lot of times when you're method acting, you can tell because it's not genuine. It's like you're pushing a feeling or a way upon yourself that the other person isn't making you feel.
Yeah.
So it seems like bad acting.
Yeah, it seems like you're acting.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
A good way to like know. A good trick is if you're acting should feel like you're watching something through a keyhole and watching something you shouldn't be watching, but you can't look away, like a car crash. That's all it is, really.
Yeah, like something is just so... You just got your eye. You're just stuck on it.
And it has to be a fight. Someone always has to win. There has to be an objective between both actors. And whoever wins, but
Yeah,
do what you have to do to make it happen.
it's kind of weird how every movie or story, whatever, it has to be that same way. Like, it has to be some sort of conflict, some sort of...
Well, it'd be so boring.
Exactly. And it's just like, oh, we have a great life, and, you know, like...
Right?
Yeah, I get that, but it's so crazy having the same storyline over and over and over again. And
it'd be like,
you can't change it, really.
I just watched National Treasure the other day because I fucking love that movie. But it'd be like, let's find a treasure like without any obstacles. That'd be so fucking boring.
You just find it everywhere you look. Yeah, like, I get you. What? So, if you could pass on any knowledge to any tips to anybody that wants to go into acting now, you know, not you know, just from what you know from being a child and acting, and even your acting experience now, like what would you pass on to some people that are looking into that?
Well, it doesn't matter that I was a child actor in this sense, because after taking a huge break, it's like starting all over again, and I'm not a cute kid anymore. I'm not going to get jobs because of that.
Yeah, you're
so
grown man.
It's a completely different story, a different thing, completely, honestly. But the only thing I would have to say is go to school, learn a craft. I act through Meiser, Stanislavski, and Chakov, so those are all methods of acting that I think everyone should learn. You don't have to, but you might embarrass the fuck out of yourself. Yeah. Can I cuss on the show?
Yeah, you're good, man. Cuss all you want.
Yeah.
So, I know you also told me you wanted to speak a little bit about mental health on the podcast, so can we go into that?
Let's do it. Let me take a drink.
Okay, let's hear this. I know that was a topic we wanted to hit.
So, it's a huge part of my life. It is my life. It's something I've always struggled with. And just to retouch on the trials and tribulations why I moved back here from San Marcos.
Yeah, let's get it back.
Is because I tried to kill myself.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, and I have all over my legs. It was not a good time. I felt so alone, and I kind of was. Honestly, no one should live on their own when they're 17.
Yeah.
Bad idea. But
we got those beer burps going, huh?
Yeah, that's happening. So that happened, and I've been in therapy since I was like 9 years old. There's always been like something there, but really,
that's kind of good though. You've kind of been in therapy since you were 9.
Didn't really help.
Okay.
Didn't really help. I've had a therapist who told me that I came out to him as gay when I was 9, and he told me that the rapture was coming and I would be burnt on the earth and everyone else would be picked up and moved to the different planet. Yeah, so I'm just gonna say, like, I'm not very open to therapy because of shit like that.
I never got into therapy. I'm not into it.
Well, some are quacks. Some are fucking quacks.
Yeah, it's a job, you know. You get those fucked up people that don't even know what they're doing.
They shouldn't even really be, like, telling you things. They're just kind of there to, like, listen
to your issue, basically. Yeah.
And then also, like, being Chinese, there's a lot of things where it was like, you're a man, don't suppress. And that's how I think a lot of guys feel.
Mm-hmm. I get you.
It's like, but we all have brains. We're still humans, and we all have problems just the same. So it doesn't make you lesser of a man just by admitting that you have a problem.
Yeah, exactly.
So after that, it was really like looking after me, and I was abusing a lot of substances.
It seems to always be some sort of part of it. Part of it.
I think I went. So when I went away to a mental institution for trying to kill myself,
and how you're gonna have to? Can you go into that experience?
I can absolutely, and that's what like saved me.
Okay.
And I don't think it could save anyone else the way that it saved me, especially now, because I was 17, but I was in college. So
this happened basically right out of high school. Like
right out of high school, yeah.
And it just wasn't working. You felt lonely and just...
Yeah.
It was it.
I went like down the rabbit hole fast.
Yeah.
And actually, the way that it happened was my roommate found me. There was blood seeping out of the bathroom door, and it was locked, but she kicked it in, and then found me lying on the floor with a knife in my hand, passed out with a puddle of blood.
Jesus.
So.
Then do you feel like
super fun?
Do you feel like you gave any signs to anyone that you needed help? Like, do you think you reached out?
Yeah, it happened multiple times. I was asked once to lie about why I needed stitches all over my leg, and to say that like I fell on broken glass instead of really telling the doctor that I was stabbing myself.
Yeah, because they didn't want you to get in trouble. Is that why
they didn't want to cover it up? Don't talk about it. And that's kind of how like my whole life was going up until that point.
Let's just act like nothing's going on. Let's just act like it's fine.
Yeah, which is obviously it doesn't work. It's gonna turn out real bad.
Yeah, it never works out, man. When you suppress your issues and everything, it ends up just coming out even worse.
Exactly.
100 times worse.
Exactly. So because of that, I remember waking up in the hospital, and because I had already drank like a full bottle of Patron before I did that too. And
all bad.
Yeah, and they were like, you have to go under like a 5150 hold. And
so it's 72 hours? Is that a 72 hour?
Yeah, it's a 3-day. So I was 17, so I couldn't go into the adult ward. I had to go into the children's ward.
Really?
Yeah.
So were you you're basically the oldest person there then? You're like...
I was the oldest person and not in school.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So while I was there, that's what changed. That's what made it click for me, is that other people have it so much worse. There was 10-year-olds trying to kill themselves.
I just got real issues, real big
How do you
problems.
even know what that is when you're 10?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I've never understood. Is
nuts.
Things like that. Yeah.
And it really opened my eyes up, and it made me cry. I roomed with a kid that was starved, and you could see his bones and everything. So it was almost like a blessing for him to be there.
Yeah, it was almost like a break. A break for him. Almost like a...
Yeah. And these kids they were a little off. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, definitely.
But, they really, they really just, starved, attention or something.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It was sad. It was really, really sad. And that's how some people asked me, because after that I went to, a detox rehab program. And it was how do you overcome, not being sober, but, getting over your issues like that and knowing when to stop. It's because you see people that are worse than you are.
Yeah, exactly. You feel okay, it's not me. I'm not the bad guy. Almost we're all in this together more than just myself.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what everybody ends up, trying to commit suicide or whatever. That's kind of one of the underlying feelings is, you're lonely. Obviously, you feel by yourself. You feel like there's nobody to talk to, nobody to go to.
Yeah, I mean, and there's so many, but what really changed for me, honestly, was actually starting to take medication.
Really?
Yeah.
You feel like medication actually helped you out?
Yeah, so I'm on about 2,000 milligrams of antidepressants a day.
Okay, and that's it works for a lot of people, and there's some people it doesn't work for. And
it was my choice.
If it works, dude, take it.
It was my choice, and for a long time, I didn't believe in taking them.
And you're consistently taking it, so now you feel like it's working, it's actually helping.
It's definitely working, and I know that because I was talking to my psychiatrist, and he was like, "What happens when you don't take it?" And I was like, one of two things: I either sleep for a full 24 hours, or I'm fucking the devil. Yeah, I will rip your head off. Your mind. Yeah, and he's like, okay, so you're addicted to them. And I'm like, huh, that would totally make sense.
Yeah.
But being open and honest with your doctor, I think, is the most important thing, because he asked me, he was like, what do you not want in these medications? And I was like, well, I have to be able to drink on them.
I have to be able to enjoy a good time.
I may or may not have to eat on them. and do cocaine and ecstasy. And he was like, huh. He was like, you know what, like, I've been your doctor for a long time, and I love how honest we are with, like, you are with me, but that actually rules out a few.
He's
And I'm like, okay.
that works. Yeah, that works. Thanks. Luckily, I told you, huh? Luckily,
Right?
I let you know.
That could have been bad. But no, I mean, it's still a struggle every day. And...
So, and not to go back to the situation.
No, go ahead.
But what was, like, your, like, okay, you get in that mental institution.
Uh-huh.
What is your day-to-day? Like, what is your, like, let's say, like, what do you wake up, you have breakfast, like, how is it? Like, what is it? Like,
You really don't know what time it is.
They don't have no clocks or what? They don't.
No. You would have to go to the nurse's station to find it. So it's basically like one big long hallway. Okay. It's a hospital, really.
Yeah.
It is. And when you get there, you have to like remove all your clothing and sit in a padded room. And then they come in and fully analyze you. If you freak out, they may or may not give you booty juice, which is a sedative that they shoot in your ass, and it basically
put you out or what?
Makes you for like 2 days. So you don't want to freak out. That's the last thing.
Keep it cool.
The last thing you want to do. Yeah. So and they kind of got it. Like I'm not like their normal patient because I'm older and not even in school. So the normal day-to-day, so you get there, you do that. They take out like you have like gym shorts and whatnot. They take out all the strings in them. They take out anything you can possibly kill yourself with.
Hurt yourself.
And I didn't even understand. I'm like, I don't know how to kill myself with a string from a gym short. Like, I don't even know how to hang myself with, you know?
It's too much work. It's just like, I'm not doing this. I'm not MacGyver.
But like, people are all over you all the time, so I don't even know how.
Yeah.
And then you kind of meet other people, and you go into like, you have like a room that it really is like the movies. And you kind of just sit in like a big room where everyone's just like doing their own things, or they give you packets that you have to like work through.
Just kind of keep you busy.
And the packets can't even have staples in them because someone tried to kill himself with a staple once and almost succeeded, which I was like, wow.
Pretty good work.
Yeah, so they like tape them, and I was like, that's not gonna work, but okay.
And then from there, because you said you went to rehab too, right? You went to rehab?
Yeah, so that got me out of there. So we'll go through like the day. In the morning, you do that. You get your medicine. I didn't have medicine. I only had a nicotine patch because I wasn't able to smoke. They wouldn't let me.
So they let you take a nicotine patch?
They let me take a nicotine patch.
Because they knew you kind of like withdraw from the
my parents signed off on the fact that they'd let me do that.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah, and then you go to school.
Okay.
So there's a school in there because every kid there should be in school except for me. So all I had to do was write on the board for them. The teacher's just like, write on the board for them. So I just had to like write on the board for them. They had like a makeshift school. And then you just eat, sit around, read. Like
yeah, I get you.
Really nothing. Like we weren't allowed to go outside. There was a basketball court, and we were allowed to go in there sometimes, but we weren't allowed to be with the adults because at that program there was adults downstairs and we were upstairs. And the adults were all from it was in San Diego, so the adults were all like PTSD from like the military, the army and stuff.
So just savages, just wild people were a little crazy.
The cafeteria, like you had to work. You had like levels, you know. Kind of like, have you ever been to jail or anything?
No, I've never been to jail.
Okay, well, there's like level.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so once you get to like the third level, then you're allowed to go down and like get your food from the cafeteria and bring it back up. But other than that, you have to stay up there.
Okay.
And when you go, oh my god, they would throw chairs at each other like it was like just nothing. They'd just be like. They were nuts. They freaked me out, kind of.
That makes sense. I've heard. I actually have a cousin. I'm not gonna name any names, but he has PTSD from the military, and he's not too bad off, but he's a little sideways. Bro.
Sideways. I totally get it. I don't fault them for any of that.
Yeah.
I thank them for their service, but
It's a little
especially
crazy.
when they're institutionalized. Something went south.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was...
The whole military didn't work out for you, bud, obviously. if you're in
Yeah.
there.
I mean, I guess you made it out alive.
It's made it out alive.
But didn't really do well.
So, okay, so now we're on to... So that rehab
Yeah,
got you out of...
Yeah, so they wanted
How
to
long
keep...
were you in there?
I was only in there for 4 days.
Okay, so they
It wasn't
gave you-
long.
They gave you an extra day for what? Just because they were like...
Well, my parents didn't get there, and like no one ever visited me. There's visiting hours every day. No one ever visited me. I was like screaming, like, "Get me the fuck out of here!"
I don't want to go into this too much, and I don't want you to like answer them too. But how did that make you feel? Like nobody's
upset.
there, and
I was
did
horribly
anybody
upset.
explain not going at all? Did anybody, or did you guys clear that up? Did you and whoever?
Sometimes no. Like my sister was actually going to San Diego State and just lived down the road and never came.
Yeah, see that's what I'm saying. Like something like that situation, did that ever get cleared up, or is that just kind of just it is what it is?
The only thing that got cleared up about it was like they didn't want to see me like that. And I was like, well, if you can't see me at my worst, then
The only thing I would
what am I here for?
The only thing that I would say that I would understand what they're saying is just because I went and saw my buddy Chico when he was in jail, and that was pretty depressing. Like seeing somebody behind the glass, or I don't know how they'd visit you. I'm sure they could visit you pretty regular, right? They wouldn't have
Just
to be
once a day for like 20 minutes.
Yeah, and it could be like face to face, right?
It can be face to
just like
face,
normal, like,
but it's
yeah.
monitored.
Yeah, see, like that's like, and mine was even. I felt like even worse in the situation to where he's straight shackled up, shackled on his hands, shackled on his feet.
Mm-hmm.
He's behind a glass. You're talking through a phone, like so. I can
Right.
definitely see how they feel like a little. I could get what they're saying, but I don't get what they're saying. Obviously, I don't agree with it. I would definitely, if you're my kid or you're my brother and I live down the street, I would have definitely taken the time to visit you.
Well, thank you for that.
Yeah,
But I definitely understood it, and I was fine with it. I mean, afterwards, I realized, like, it was... I mean, there's a lot of things that happened in there that I'm glad didn't come out. Like, so when I first went in, they took me into a room, my parents happened to be there. And I was like, well, what? Kind of like, what are you doing here?
Really?
Yeah, and so my mom kind of knew what was going on, but my dad didn't. And my mom for sure thought I was going to tell my dad that I was gay, and I didn't. I didn't have that opportunity to. I didn't have it in me, and I was like looking back.
Wait, you're talking about when you're in the...
When I got to the mental institution.
Oh,
so,
he didn't know when you're...
No, it was still, and that's the crazy thing, is like looking back on my life, there's so many signs. You're just an idiot to not realize it.
Yeah. Okay, so go back. Okay, so go.
So, and my mom was like, that was the perfect opportunity because you get to like be in this place.
Like you're
And I'm
in
like,
here.
oh, I get to be in here? No, I have to be in
Yeah,
here.
I'm stuck here. Yeah, I did not choose this.
Yeah, no, but so after that, they wanted me to stay, the doctor wanted me to stay in there for like another 2 weeks. And I was like, the fuck no. I was like, because your parents have to like let you out.
Yeah.
Even though the doctor can deem you like,
But
you
you're
have to stay.
underage.
I was underage, and they want you to stay there because it's so much money. They get so much fucking money from you.
Yeah.
They get so much fucking... I mean, 3 days was like 50 grand.
They're like, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Well, you'll be fine. Like, you'll be okay.
Yeah, and so I was like, get me the fuck out of here. I'm gonna go fucking crazy. Yada, yada, yada. And they're like, the only way you can get out of here is if you do an outpatient rehab. And I was like, fine.
I'll do it.
Fine, I'll do it. And I did that until the day I turned 18. I said, give me the release forms. And I signed them, and I was like, fuck you.
Wow.
And walked out. Well, the thing about it is at that time, too, I wasn't doing... I wasn't smoking weed anymore. I wasn't doing cocaine anymore. So if I drank, like, my pee test every day wasn't really gonna come back positive.
Yeah.
There was some kids that, like, there was a 13-year-old who, like, one day took like Vicodin and then took a pee test, and they immediately like dragged him out, and I was like, how stupid are you?
Yeah, exactly.
Of
you
course
think you're
they're
not
gonna-
gonna get caught? Like, all right, bro. Yeah.
Yeah, of course
Exactly.
you're gonna get caught. And that didn't.
And now I don't know when you went. I don't know how long. Well, you said you're 17, so obviously it was a while ago.
That was almost 10 years ago.
Yeah, so 10 years ago. But now I know a couple people that are in rehab right now, and those tests they do now, they catch alcohol now. They catch like the metabolites when the alcohol after it starts to evaporate or whatever in your system. I don't know the science. I don't know the science.
I don't know the science either.
I don't know that shit. But
I just knew I was fine.
yeah, but fucking they'll catch that shit for like a couple days now. So if you drink, they'll catch you for like 3, 4, 5 days after you drink on the drug test. And I know UFC, which I don't know if you watch UFC. It's fighting, like MMA.
It's not religious. Every
MMA.
once in a while, I don't pay for it, but if I'm at like a bar or something, it's on.
It's pretty interesting. Yeah, it's fighting. It's
Yeah.
interesting, yeah. But them, they do some crazy drug testing, same type of thing. It's like crazy.
I'm really glad I can go to rehab now.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's what it taught me. I have a friend, again, no names, but he has a problem.
There's a problem.
There's a problem with some stuff, and he's just asking me like how I can overcame a lot of addiction, but still do it. And I'm like, well, I'm always going to be an addict. I'm always going to do some stuff. That's purposely why I don't really gamble.
Do you feel like it was an addiction more, or do you think it was more like you had a mental...
Like it was a release,
Like
like it's sort of an escape.
Yeah, like was it more like an underlying mental problem, and then the addiction kind of, or whatever, the drugs or alcohol or whatever, was kind of like just a side...
A crutch.
Yeah, like a crutch kind of.
At that time, yeah, and then it kind of grew. It kind of grew.
So it was a
fast
problem
and
too.
hard.
It was a
Yeah,
problem
it was
too.
definitely a problem, and that problem, like my parents told me, like they were like, we had problems, so we kind of expected one of our kids to have a problem, like,
Okay.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so, I just what helped me do it is like I understood when to stop. And by seeing people who are way worse off than me, by going to AA meetings,
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard some people, they go to AA meetings and those people's stories are so crazy. It makes you feel like, okay.
I'm nothing.
Yeah, all right. I don't even
yeah.
want to tell you my story. I don't even want to say anything.
Some people make up how bad their story is too. and
I'm
it's-
sure.
I've gone in Beverly Hills. There is meetings where there's some celebrities. I can't name names, but it's like
You're like, alright. Yeah, whatever, dude. Okay.
yeah, and please stop sharing.
Yeah.
But no, I mean that's what it really took for me. And I'm okay with it. I literally plan out like my partying days. I'm like, oh, no work this day, that day. I'm going to go hard.
So you didn't. I don't think you finished on it. And
Sorry.
How? No, it wasn't anything you did. I just you kind of mentioned it in the story. Was when did you come out to your dad that you were gay? And after you answer that, or if you don't answer that, or you don't want to, do you feel like it was like really? Was it hard on you? Like do you feel like it was hard being gay? Do you feel like do you feel like now it's hard being gay? Do you feel like it's like like? Do you feel like anybody's judged you for that? I guess is what I should say.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like starting forwards and going backwards. But so I never really was like, Dad, I'm gay.
Yeah.
It's just like slowly came out, and it's just there.
He just kind of knows now. It's just kind of, it is what it is.
It is what it is. I will straight up be like, I'm a homosexual to him now. But there wasn't like a dad, I'm like, some sort
Like
of
a
sob
talk
story.
yeah.
Yeah. There wasn't that.
Okay.
There was with my mom, and she was like, no, you're not. And I'm like, okay.
Okay, whatever you say.
It took me to literally be vulgar and be like, I've had sex with dudes, I don't think it's a phase, for them to be like, oh.
This makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be like, stop thinking it's
Maybe
a phase.
he's not bullshit.
It's really annoying me now.
Yeah. It's really like, come on. What else I gotta tell you? What
Yeah,
else I gotta do?
exactly. They're so supportive now. It took a long time for them to become supportive, but they're so supportive. My dad will go to gay bars with me. He goes to gay bars with me all the time.
Oh, that's pretty legit then. That's cool.
And I had to change my life to surround myself with people who really didn't judge me.
Yeah.
Because there is a lot of judgment. There's a lot of people who are ignorant. There's a lot of people who, like, for some reason believe that I'm interested in them. I'm not. A lot of guys have that mentality.
Yeah, like,
oh, I don't want to be around gay guy. And you're like,
yeah.
what the fuck made you think I wanted to be around you?
Yeah, what makes you so interesting? Yeah.
There's a lot of that. So I live in a gay community. I live around a lot of gay people, and I surround myself with that. And a lot of people ask, like, what's the difference between a gay bar? Like, why isn't there a straight bar? And I'm like, well, everything's a straight bar. The reason behind a gay bar is they were created so long ago for people just to be themselves and not be judged, tormented, or picked on.
Yeah.
And so it's a safe place. And it's also a safe place if you want to be straight. It's a safe place for whatever you want to do. So that's not the way I feel a lot of times in straight bars.
I've had a lot of homies and a couple black homies that look little hood that have told me there's a lot of chicks in those gay bars.
So
a lot of bitches in those gay bars.
Yeah.
So I know there's everybody's in those gay bars. So I don't hate. I'm not hating.
No, it is a thing, and there's definitely a lot of people who get hooked up in straight bars. There's a lot of people who have, like, I know people who have gotten married from meeting in a straight bar, hetero relationships.
Oh, in a gay bar? Maybe.
Yeah, there's a lot, I mean, and now it's 2020, and, like, being gay is very popular. It's kind of weird.
It's kind of almost like a trendy thing, almost.
It is,
it's
which is, like, not
trendy.
cool. A lot of people come to, like, go out in West Hollywood and stuff, and they, like, it's just, like, they want to see it, they want to experience it, and it's just, like, calm down, go home.
Yeah.
You're taking it a little too far.
Yeah, like...
But no, we created.
I live this every day. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, we did. We really created, like, gay communities just to be safe.
Yeah. Just be yourself, basically.
Yeah, I could if I wanted to. I wouldn't. But if I wanted to, like, walk down the street in, like, a wig and heels, no one would even look at me sideways.
Yeah, it's just normal. Yeah.
Just do you. And to think of, like, in that respect, drag. I have a lot of friends who do drag. My next door neighbor does drag, and a lot of people don't, like, think about it. And so many actors do drag. So many actors. I mean, Robin Williams was Mrs. Doubtfire. Tyler Perry is always
It's
Medea.
like, and those are, like, huge movies. What's his name? Was it Martin Lawrence? Wasn't he Big Mama?
Yeah, he was Big Mama.
Yeah.
He was Big Mama, and I mean, people don't even understand the definition of drag, which it means...
I don't know the definition, so...
The definitions means dressed as girl, and it came from Shakespeare, because girls weren't allowed to be actors.
So,
Guys
there's
had to
all
dress
men.
as-
Yeah, that's so crazy. Like, what a dumbass, like...
But people
So
take
crazy.
people take all that shit way too far, and that's fine. Everyone has
Did you
their own
finish your
opinion.
beer over there? Go no? You good?
I'm good right now.
Oh, yeah, I'm good.
But people has their own opinion. People have their own opinion about everything, and that's fine. But so coming out, it's still a struggle because I mean I'm totally open about it. Some people just don't get it though.
You're gonna get those people that like for example, like my dad, and he has that against gay people, but he's like super religious.
Uh-huh.
So he like he'll never say anything rude or anything, but like my cousin asked him, because one of my cousins is gay, and he asked him, like, what do you think about that? And he's like, well, like, I don't think anything really about it. He's like, but like,
it's not
the
my
Bible,
choice.
yeah, he's like, the Bible says it's a sin, and like that's the shit my dad goes into, and my cousin got all pissed off, and it's like, you know what he's gonna say, like, he's religious, like he's all like super Christian and just
right.
like,
He's gonna
like,
read you the rights.
yeah, he's like he's stuck in his ways, you know, like they're like he's thinking, he's not changing his mind. You know?
I mean, Jesus loved us all.
Exactly, and that's what I think. I don't even think Christianity is the end all be all on religion. I don't even think religion is really a thing. I think it's man made.
It's not if we're gonna get into that.
Yeah, and I don't know how that affects your acting career if you talk about religion.
Gosh, if it's not my character, I wouldn't. But there's a lot of interesting religion things that I've went through over the years too, trying to find myself. Because I grew up going to Southwest Church.
Okay, that makes sense.
I'm not going to call out a lot of names. I'm not going to call out any names besides that one.
There's a shitload of people that go out to
Yeah.
go to Southwest or just Not that I know anybody, but I just know because there's a lot of people that go there.
Well, when I was like starting to come out as gay and stuff, a lot of people there that I grew up with turned their back on me, and it was like, you know,
see, like that, I don't know. Like
Jesus says no. And my parents even moved churches because I
sense.
guess there was a pastor there who didn't want to complete a gay marriage or something. I don't know, because I left a long time before then. When I was in high school, actually, I went to a temple in Palm Springs and took my mom there to meet a rabbi and potentially convert to Judaism, and they were so accepting of me and of everything. I thought that was really cool. I just wanted something to believe in again, you know?
Mm-hmm. I mean, like I've told a couple people, me and God, we don't get along right now. Me and him, we've had a couple issues, so I don't know.
He's not rooting. He's not on your side right now.
Yeah, we've had a couple arguments and shit, but so I'm not too much in the spiritual sense right now. But I think there's something, but I don't know. What
right, and that was kind of the point of all that. And then when I was in LA and I was kind of really struggling through auditions, I started to look into Scientology.
Really?
Yeah, and I did. Okay, so I did that for a little bit.
You watched Tom Cruise kill a couple people? Have you seen?
Oh gosh, no.
Oh, okay. My bad.
I actually used to live across from the Celebrity Center when I first moved to LA. I lived in Hollywood.
Okay.
No, it was the most bizarre thing I've ever fucking been to.
So you went to like a conference or something
I've been to Big Blue, which is like this huge blue building that says Scientology on it. There's a Del Taco next door. That's why I still
that's so interesting. Scientology is so interesting.
Yeah, they tried to recruit people. So after my test, I was basically deemed like almost like an apostate, but like just like not a good person. Like I have to change. So I have to go do all this work to change my life, to clean my sins. But the questions were like, they were like, at night, are you tired? And it's like, yes, no, maybe. And I'm like, you start thinking like, what answer do you want me to put? You know?
Yeah, I go to sleep at night.
Right, but it's almost like a test that you're like, I want to pass and not seem like a retard. But
yeah.
Sorry,
it's almost too easy. It's almost like you're like,
No, you start thinking about it a lot.
That's what I'm saying. It's like too simple though. Like am I tired? Like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, it's such a simple question. But
yeah, and sometimes we're like, one was like, if you're really hungry, do you go ahead and eat?
What'd you answer to that? Yeah or no?
I don't remember the answer I answered, but I remember being very nervous about the answer I answered.
You're like, I hope that was right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you went to that. Did you go to anything after that?
I actually went to like a Scientology acting thing, and I had to get out of there.
Really?
Yeah.
They were trying to kidnap you?
No, they were trying to kidnap
my
me.
bad.
I do still get some emails from them. I was like invited to a Tom Cruise party after the Oscars to be like, because he went there. Honestly, it's a cult. I'm just going to say.
Cult. Yeah. I think everybody knows that. I think we all know that. Anybody that's watching this, even all the dumbasses that watch this, straight cult. We all know that.
It was really hard. I was like, oh, should I go? And I was like talking to other people, and they were like,
so how are you? How are you? They're like, nah, bro, nah. You're gonna.
No, they're gonna suck you in. Yeah, you're not coming back.
How do you? So how are you now? Do you have a religion that you kind of stick to, or do you just kind of feel like you're just spiritual, or
I don't.
You know, feel any type of.
Honestly, the religion I think I only go by is just having friends and being honest and being who I am, and that's the only way I'm besides all the religions I've tried and all the things I've done, I think just being myself has been the only freeing thing I've ever done.
I've told I agree with you, and I kind of have a take on like I've told multiple people I don't think heaven or hell or any of that stuff has anything to do with what you believe in. I feel like it has to do with how you treat people. You know, like if you're a good person or not. That's kind of how I feel like.
Absolutely, and I don't think it should scare you. I don't think you have to be like, oh, if I drink this, I'm going
I'm
to have
back.
to repent. You know,
Nah.
you can't think like you're gonna be thinking your whole goddamn life, and that is gonna suck.
Yeah, I was
you
so
just
scared.
gotta do what you want to do.
I was so scared for I don't know how long, years, to take shrooms, to try shrooms. And then I took shrooms for the first time, and that was my best experience of my life. I was like, oh
Did
my
it
god.
just free your mind a little bit?
Yeah, I was like, oh my god, like what the fuck are we doing?
Have you come
here?
back from that?
Yeah, I've taken a couple shroom trips, and I've enjoyed them. I want to try DMT, but I don't know if I'll ever be able to get my hands on that. I'm not Joe Rogan. I don't know anybody, so I don't know anybody like that.
Drugs are. I mean, it's a very important part
I
of the
take it-
lifestyle I live, and I try to not do that much.
I take
Everyone's
it-
on G, ketamine.
I don't do any of that shit, but like
Coke.
the only thing I mess with is weed, and then like when I tried shrooms, and then like when I've taken it ever since, I take it. I don't take it to get high. I take it to really like learn something, you know,
Right.
like learn more about the universe, about myself, about life, you know. And it's made my experiences so good. I've never had a bad trip. Never.
Really?
Never. Not even close. Not even close. And I feel like I've even had trips where like I could feel like it could be a bad trip, but I didn't let it be a bad trip. I just
Right,
was
it's
like-
all in you.
Yeah, like, and so shrooms I've enjoyed. I've tried, you know, a couple other things that I don't know if I've tried Molly, I guess. So yeah, I've tried Molly, and that was a fun experience, definitely. So I'm not
I
gonna
bet.
hate on it. Yeah.
No, for sure.
Yeah, the come down was a little too much, so I never did it again. I was like,
Oh my god, I'm getting old. Like, I can't party anymore. When
I don't party. I don't even do that.
And that's why,
I
like,
got kids and
if I
shit.
do party, I'm like, I need the entire day after. I will just stay in bed. That's it for me for the next day.
Yeah.
I will
see, I'm
order
a party.
food, and I will literally have them come into my apartment and give it to me in bed.
You're like, dude, just bring it in.
I ain't
It's
getting up.
unlocked.
I ain't
It's
getting up
unlocked.
unless I absolutely have to pee.
You're like, I'm gonna order food and you're bringing it inside. I hope you tip them.
Well, yeah, okay.
I never heard of that. It is, you know, I do live in Beverly Hills.
That's
so
not the problem. The problem is I'm not getting the fuck up.
Yeah, I'm eating in bed. So what's the biggest change in your lifestyle from here, like in the valley, or you know, just whatever change? Like, is it the change of pace, like from here to LA, Beverly Hills? Like, what was the biggest change for you?
The biggest change, I think, was... It's interesting. I think the biggest change was creating a new life.
Yeah, is that the most exciting part?
Not always.
yeah.
No,
Not
I'm just
really,
kidding.
yeah.
No. It's fun. It's great. I have like a new family, and a family that's always there for me. And
Yeah.
and because going back, like being the gay thing and everything, I got to build my own family via my friends, and that was really important to me. And that's what every gay person gets to do is you get your family thrown at you, but you get to pick your own family through the people that you really trust the most.
Yeah, I get you.
And there's really only not that many of them. You can
Yeah.
have a lot of friends, but like on one hand, there's really people I'd call.
Dude, I could. You know what's so crazy is I was just thinking about this today. I was just having a little moment to myself, and I was thinking about it's so crazy how small my circle is, and just that you mentioned that, just how quickly, especially after high school and after you grow up and
Things
you know
change.
life happens. Yeah, you realize like, damn, like. Shit, like I don't know all these people like I thought I knew all these people. Like it's not like we're not all friends. We're not all in this together. It's kind of like
No.
me and like maybe two of you other guys, and that's
Yeah.
about it. You know,
Yeah.
that's a weird, it's a crazy experience having to go through that, especially. You know, like I don't know. For me, it was going from being a jock in high school and playing sports, and then getting out and then having kids, and then realizing like, damn, life just moves. Like none of that shit.
Well,
even
that's
matters.
a lot. That's a lot of stuff you do.
Yeah.
I'm still just like navigating, and you're
But you're
like
moving, though, like-
family.
You're in Beverly. Yeah, I got a family, but still, man. But you're in Beverly Hills, so you're
That
there.
doesn't matter.
You're out
That's
there.
all here's. I mean, that doesn't matter, you know.
Yeah.
It doesn't really. No matter where you are. I mean, it's we're all still struggling.
Yeah, exactly. And just speaking on the struggle, are you nervous about the whole COVID situation and the Corona situation? Do you know anybody that has had it?
I don't know anyone that's had it.
Yeah, I don't know anybody either. I know, like, not really.
Really?
I don't know anybody, but a friend's mom had it, and she's fine. She had a little, like, I don't know, like a couple symptoms, and then another, like, my cousin, her husband's friend's mom, and him, they both had it, but they both are fine too. So it's like, you know, I mean, it's bad, dude. People are dying.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's so many conspiracies where people are like, oh, if you die in a car crash, they're gonna say you died of COVID-19.
And that's what
they've kind of. It's true.
They did that. They definitely did that on there's an infant that died, a newborn baby, and they said the baby died from COVID, and the baby was born at like 22 weeks. Like the baby was born at screaming, dude. Like, nah.
And is it passed through?
Yeah. I don't know.
If you're pregnant with it, does it go to your baby? Listen, that's new to everyone. I don't even think a doctor would know. I think that's an experiment.
The mom had it. The mom had it. She ended up dying, and then the baby.
Oh, so they dying. Took it out.
Okay. I think so.
Well,
I think so. So that's not really
That's COVID. A rough story.
Yeah, that's not the corona. That's kind of like on. That's a lot of situations. That's a lot of stuff. A lot of symptoms.
No, I don't know. I mean, I know I'm getting unemployment, which is nothing because I'm working off of like commission. So that doesn't really count.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah, it's not like you're an hourly wage or like you can't really like so. But
I do get the hourly wage like in unemployment, but not the commission. And the commission is like 70%.
And the hourly wage, I'm sure, is pretty low compared to the commission. Obviously,
it's like 15.
And the commission's where you bring the money in. That's where
like
you get
70% of it is commission.
So when this whole pandemic hopefully is over and when you're back to doing your thing, what's your goal? What's your 5-year? What's your plan? What's your long-term plan? What do you want to do?
That's like a really tough question.
And answer it the best you can. Because I don't even know what I want to do tomorrow.
I don't know. So. Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, I don't know what tomorrow brings.
Yeah.
But, I'd like to settle down. I think I'd kind of want to live with someone eventually.
Like have like a boyfriend or something? Like
yeah.
Get a situation going.
I've lived with myself, by myself for like 3 years.
So, okay. So... 17, don't live by yourself, but now you enjoy living by yourself?
I do.
You like it? Okay.
I do, because I created, like, these friends and I grew up. And I went through a lot. I had to really, like...
You matured and
I had to really be beaten down to grow up. And that's just me. I just learned that really hard way.
That's honestly... And what's crazy is I don't think that's just you. I think that's a lot of people. I think that's the majority of people. That's the way they grow up, is they gotta...
Yeah.
You gotta get beaten down. You gotta have a lot of shitty situations. You gotta feel like you're you're the doormat getting walked all over. Like, you gotta feel those situations so then you grow up, Like, I think a lot of people feel like they're the only people that deal with that situation. You're definitely not. I know multiple people, as well as myself, that have dealt with situations where I feel like, fuck, dude.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck is this? Like, what am I doing?
Right, you just kind of step back and be like,
I've had a couple situations lately where spilling beer where I almost just laughed. I was just like,
because there's nothing else you can do.
I don't give a fuck. Yeah, I don't give a fuck anymore. Like, whatever, dude. All right, fuck you guys. I don't care.
No, I mean I've thought I've been ready for relationships before, and they've gone totally south.
Yeah.
And also, this is a bad note of being gay. Guys can hit each other. So
guys can hit each other. So you guys are getting full-on fist fights. I didn't think about that.
Yes. Okay.
I didn't think about that. Damn, you're right. All right.
So, yeah.
Guys can hit each other. So we can fight.
Yeah. So there's been that. So I think I'm kind of ready. I like a lot of my alone time. I kind of joke, like, even if I'm married, I would still have my own apartment just to, like,
you'd still have your own place. Yeah, I get you.
Because I have to have, like, I can't have someone hovering over me all the time. And actually, my ex is my manager, so that's a real fun working relationship.
That's real interesting. Yeah.
It's yeah.
So.
But in, like, 5 years, I don't think I want to have a TV show.
You want to settle down.
Yeah.
What else do you want?
I think career-wise, I really do want... I kind of want an arc, at least be on a TV show, but what my long-term goal was, and always still has been, is kind of be a cast member on SNL.
Oh, okay.
I've done some live theater where I did this author named Christopher Durang, and his writing is amazing. And I performed Beyond Therapy, which is a great play, in front of people, and it killed it. Like, it was amazing, and it really got me into, like, the sketch comedy version. It's like if you think you're taking it too far, take it even further. Like, go crazy and make people laugh.
And on top of that, so SNL, I know, obviously, like you said, sketch comedy. Would you ever do any stand-up comedy to help that situation out?
I've written stand-up comedy. I actually... Okay. This is COVID-19's fault. And that is going to make sense in a little bit. This is COVID-19's fault because I got so bored I started writing a new sketch comedy that was called You Can Suck My Dick From Behind While I Pass Gas. That face says it all. It's just kind of telling people to fuck off.
Yeah. I like it.
No, but I've written a few. I don't know if I'd really want to perform them. It's all about the audience, really, with stand-up.
Yeah, stand-up is, that's a scary situation.
Well, I've been to some stand-ups, and they're really bad. Yeah. Like, really bad.
I've actually gone to the Comedy Store in LA. Shout out Joe Rogan, I actually didn't even watch Joe Rogan, but shout out Joey Diaz, shout out Andrew Santino, shout out, who else did I see? I saw a couple guys. Oh, Brendan Schaub, dude, you gotta work on the stand-up. I do love your podcast and all that, but...
Don't call someone out like that.
He's famous, that's why I'm calling him out.
No,
because he's famous, he's super famous. It doesn't matter. Because I hope he hits me up, and I hope he shouts me out and hates on me, so I can get a lot of fucking subscribers on YouTube. But no, Comedy Store, have you heard of it? You've heard of it, right?
It's like down the street from my house.
It's like famous, right? Like the famous. Yeah.
They actually have a smoking AA meeting.
Really?
Shout out Comedy Store.
The Comedy Store is legit. I went, and it was fun. Definitely fun.
Yeah, it's definitely a fun time there.
Hey, $20 too. They're like $25 a ticket to go.
Yeah, all comedy's pretty cheap. Really cheap.
Yeah. Unless you're buying
you're really famous.
And you're buying like a stadium ticket, like you're buying one at one of those big
like when
theaters.
Kevin Hart sold out the Eagle Stadium.
Exactly. Something like that. Like and there's no reason
Little man syndrome.
You said not to call people out, dude. You just said not to call out Kevin Hart.
Yeah, no, I went to one, and this comedian, it was like an open mic night. So those are always going to be very interesting.
Yeah, pretty terrible for the most part.
And this guy, like, me and my friend were just, like, it was, like, in a store, and we were, like, buying waters, and we were, like, listening to him, and he was just like, did you know that dolphins eat jellyfish?
That was it?
Like, waiting.
You're like, oh.
We're all like, is it true?
Okay.
Like, do you want to Google that?
Thank you for the information.
He got really uncomfortable and just like, okay, and we were like, that's not a joke.
And that's why
that's not a joke.
I don't hate on it. Because I don't even know how I do the podcast because public speaking is such a problem for me. Like, I get all shaky and all weird, and for some reason the podcast doesn't bother me, but... So I don't blame people that do stand-up comedy and they suck because I feel like I would do terrible. And I think I'm a funny person, but I'm not funny stand-up comedy.
Well, like, the thing about it is, like, you have a routine and then you have to change it up and you have to have, like, little, like tweaks in it based upon how the audience is reading, but you have to be prepared for that. And the hard thing about comedy, which a lot of people can't do, is, like, you can't fake funny. You can fake being dramatic and sad. You can't fake being funny.
Exactly. Yeah, like... Yeah, exactly. And that whole, it's so weird because when you're a kid, I feel like you watch stand up comedy and you don't even understand that it's a routine. Like they have these jokes lined up, like, and you think like, oh my god, these guys are so just hilarious, and then you realize as you get older, you're like, oh, these guys have these fucking routines that they've set up and they've written out these jokes, and it's so weird to me. It seems so crazy. Like, I don't understand how you can write out a joke on paper and
deliver it
and know that's gonna be funny. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you have to read the room. That's why you have to have backups.
Yeah,
that's why you have to know it that well that you're like, there's one of these three things that will work.
Really?
Yeah,
I get what you're saying.
That's the way I work by doing it, because I've done like stand up like in like acting school and stuff, but like you have to read the room. Otherwise, you're just gonna be standing up there and everyone's gonna be like, the fuck.
Yeah, and that's what's crazy too is going to the Comedy Store, for example. There was like one or two comics that literally would just hit multiple people over and over and over again. They're just talking shit. I'm like, what the fuck? How do you even got to?
That's not my comedy in that way.
Yeah.
My comedy is self-deprecating.
Yeah.
So.
And I just think I like the that's how I feel too. I like that type of comedy, but I just thought it was pretty crazy that they could come out like on the spot, these jokes that are like, obviously that's not really routine, because Comedy Store, they're kind of middle of the week. They're working on shit, obviously.
Oh, yeah. And you have to, if you're going to start, like, really getting into stand-up, you have to go to amateur nights. You have to hit club after club after club and take your paper with you. Like, literally sleep with a pen and a paper, because things are going to come to you in the middle of the night. There was one joke that I performed, and people still laugh about it, but it's the God honest truth. I was sitting in Tender Greens. My ex came in. I told you how, guys can hit each other, so just piece that together. And I got so nervous, I literally shit myself. And I was forced.
Oh my god!
I was forced to run down Santa Monica Boulevard home, just like a baby newborn giraffe, like.
Just saying.
Like I had the fucking poops because I saw my ex, and then the gardener was like, "Hello, Mr. Lee," and I was like, "Oh," like backing up, like.
Don't see my ass.
Yeah.
Don't see my ass. Yeah.
Don't see your ex in Tender Greens.
In Tender Greens?
In Tender Greens.
What is that?
Oh, it's a restaurant.
Oh,
sorry.
it had to be something I should know, but.
No. It's, yeah. That
was a pretty funny story, and you didn't
even
even go too crazy with it, and I already thought it was pretty funny. So.
It's not one of my best moments. For sure.
That's a funny story. Landscaper didn't see it, dude? You good?
I honestly don't give a fuck if he saw it or not.
Alright. I think we should wrap it up.
Yeah.
Wrap it up. Let's finish it with shit coming out of your shit
my
yourself.
Ass? Yeah. What? No, it's not.
Yeah, we'll finish it episode 26 with, shitting yourself.
We did.
Hey, but no, actually, before we end it, where can people find you? Where can they find you on Instagram?
You want me to plug
your shit, your social media? If there's anything you've worked on or anything they can see, if there's anything like that.
If you want,
plug that shit.
There is an episode of Corrupt Crimes that replays on the CW sometimes at 9 a.m.
There you go.
The episode is called. Why can't I think of Knight of Swords? Sorry, I was gonna say Knife of Swords. It's Knight of Swords. Knight of Swords. On the CW 9 a.m. And my Instagram is Dylan DYLAN MF_Lee LEE on Instagram, and then I think that's it. So I don't really want you to find me anywhere else.
You like Instagram? That's enough. That's enough. This is the end. Hold on, let me.
Bye.